everyone, welcome to another episode of Adulthood. Today we are talking about how to be a good dog parent. Now this is something that's a little more challenging than it sounds, and I know from personal experience because a couple years ago I became a dog mom to 2 little pups, and it's a lot of work. We're gonna be helping out my friend Alex and his new pup Karen, who I can't wait to meet. And I already know who's gonna make the perfect expert for this episode. I'm gonna give her a call, and then we're gonna make a plan to meet with Alex and Karen. Let's do this. Hello.
Hi.
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 Hi. Oh my gosh, you are the cutest. Hi, Karen.
She's so cute.
Alex, this is Claire. Claire and Alex.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you.
Shall we go inside and begin?
Yes, please. We need it.
Aww.
Come on in. Okay, sweetness.
Nice place.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll take Karen off your hands if you like. So I want to officially introduce Claire. She is a behavior consultant and trainer, and she will be the perfect person to help you and little Karen out. So Alex, what are some of your concerns, so to speak, or goals with you and Karen?
So this is my first experience raising a dog on my own. Karen's about 7 months old now. We're having just a few little issues. We don't like our leash all that much, and when I'm gone away from the house for quite a while, she tends to get a little bit more restless than I've ever experienced before. So just trying to see what we can do some stuff different.
All right, Claire, what are we going to be tackling today?
Well, I would love to work with both you and her on some very basic things. So when you first start working with a dog, anytime I go into a client's house for the first time, I like to cover kind of 3 main topics. I would say number 1 is, first of all, how do we most effectively and consistently communicate with our dogs? Most of the time when people are having issues with their dogs, it's usually because there's a miscommunication there. So I'd like to talk about that. I'd also like to talk about kind of the main style of training that we're gonna employ today, which is positive reinforcement training. Dogs learn in the same way we do, and that's why that is one of the more effective ways to train. Lastly, we're just gonna talk about socialization because it's so important for puppies, and that's actually what she's trying to do right now, is just go explore. And
I know, she's like, let me go. Just a couple more seconds, Karen, I promise.
Well, it's perfect because I'd love to start working with her right now. I think what I would like to do is move down to the floor with her, so I'm just gonna get her and bring her down here. The reason I use food is it is a primary reinforcer, meaning that she needs it to survive. And she also, if we use a really high value one, right, it's a really simple way to get that attention right here and locked in. And that's where we want it when we're starting to train a dog. So I don't mean that we're gonna be using tons of treats forever, but it is a great way to start.
Sure.
So the first thing we need to talk about really is how to most effectively communicate with her, right? So she doesn't know English. We know English, she does not. She knows a couple of words that she hears a lot, like Karen. She also already knows sit, which is wonderful. That's probably about all she knows. So we need to first identify kind of how do we want to let her know she did the right thing.
Sure.
I generally will use a very simple word, good or yes. Do you have a preference on which one you'd like to use?
Yeah, good. I think good is probably the way to go. That's kind of what we've been doing. So
perfect. So we're just going to use one clean, simple good. The moment that good should happen is the moment when she's completed the correct behavior. So because she already knows sit, I'm just going to kind of show that. Karen. Hi, good girl. Sit. Good. So notice that good happened when?
it happened after she sat.
Yes, and actually more specifically, it happened right as she sat.
Got it.
So that's what's important here, no matter what we're asking her to do, whether we're saying, Karen, I'm just waiting, good, right? Because I wanted her to look at me when I said, Karen, I waited till I got that eye contact, and that's when the good happened. So for clarity, when she hears good, she knows that what she did in that moment was the right thing. So honestly, for anybody who has a new dog in their home, this is an excellent practice. I mean, it's just wonderful because arguably the most important behavior we have is getting our dog's attention. Now, if I wanted to ask her for multiple behaviors, for example, maybe it's Karen and sit, what I would do is I'm gonna get her up. Now I'm gonna say, Karen, good, sit, good, right? She knew what I was gonna ask there, so she already is jumping the gun. But my point being that she got a good for Karen and the sit.
Sure.
We wanna make sure we're giving her feedback for each behavior. One other thing I just want to mention is maybe there's a problem behavior. Maybe there's a behavior we don't like barking excessively or jumping up on us. It's really important that we make sure we're saying good for the desired behavior. So instead of barking, she could be quiet. Instead of jumping, she could be sitting. So we want to make sure to give her that good at the moment she's making the right choice. If she does jump or bark or something else we don't like, it's really important that we do not give positive reinforcement for that. So what that might mean is if she were jumping on me or barking at me, what I might do is employ something called negative punishment, which would be to remove my attention because I got the undesirable behavior. And that's it. That's it for communication. So we can even train another pretty simple behavior. We live in a world where there's all kinds of garbage and stuff that we don't want our dogs to eat, right?
Sure.
So it's really important to have a word that we can use to tell them, don't pick that up. So leave it is wonderful and it's a fun one to train. So what I'm gonna do here is offer her a fistful of treats, but close it, and I'm gonna set it right here in front of her face. I'm gonna wait for the desired behavior, good, which was her moving her nose away from my hand. Did you see that? We're gonna do it again. Good. When is that good happening?
Right as she's moving that nose away.
Yes.
She's really going for it.
She wants it.
Good. You're gonna notice though, the longer we do this, the quicker she will move that nose away. Good. She's so smart. Yes. Good. So fast, my goodness. So now I'm gonna start putting a name on it, which is leave it. Leave it. Good. Leave it. Good girl.
Who is this dog?
Good girl.
I don't know you.
All right. Leave it. Leave it. Good girl. All right, so we'll give her a break. One thing I'll just mention on that, notice how I gave her a little verbal correction there. That's a very different noise from good. And I didn't punish her, I just removed it. And then we tried again and she learned really quickly. So that's how we make our feedback and our communication really, really clear and consistent.
Would you use something like that in a situation where maybe she's jumping up on someone and you don't want her to be?
You certainly could. The only caveat on that is usually barking or jumping tends to be an attention-seeking behavior. So if we give verbal acknowledgement of it, we're giving her kind of what she wanted in that circumstance, right? By giving her attention. So I think a more effective way to handle those situations would be just to simply remove your attention immediately.
So Claire, I think something that I find the most challenging with the new puppy is the potty training. So any advice you have for that, lead the way.
Please.
Yes. You know, this is something that every puppy parent deals with, and a lot of people who rescue their dogs from the shelters as well, because a lot of those dogs either, never learned it or lived their whole lives outside or in a puppy mill or whatever the circumstances. So, I mean, a dog will just go wherever they find is most comfortable for them to go, but of course, we don't want our dogs peeing all over the house. So it's really important. So we can use a lot of the same techniques that we talked about when we were starting to talk about kind of name recognition and sit and leave it. We can employ those same techniques. And what we're doing is positive reinforcement. Sure. First of all, let me just ask you, Alex, where do you want her to go potty?
Grass.
On the
Always.
grass. Okay.
Yes.
So we need to bring a very special treat out. And kind of just a pro tip that I tell everyone who's potty training is designate a very special treat that she only sees after grass potties. So she should not see this treat. We don't want to use this food that we're using right now for potty treats. I would cut up a little meat or cheese or something and keep it in a Tupperware in your fridge that says potty treats, and take one outside with you every time. The moment she's just urinated or pooped in the appropriate place, we immediately say, good, and reinforce. It needs to happen immediately because especially puppies have a very short attention span. If she moves on to sniffing a tree or something, she's completely forgotten that she just peed, so it's gotta happen really quickly. The other side of potty training is, how do we make sure that she doesn't go potty inside? Well, supervision. Same with a toddler or anything else. We want to set her up to make the right choice, which means we need to highly supervise her every time she's inside.
Sure.
And potty training can happen actually really quickly in the course of, a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, if you're consistent. I guess the last thing on potty training is really just getting to know the signs.
Yeah,
Circling,
real sniffy.
sniffing, those are signs that we've got to get her little butt outside now.
Yay, Karen!
Good job, Karen!
Good.
After all this training, I'm sure Kara needs to go potty, so maybe we should transition to the backyard and work on some of that potty training we talked about.
Love it.
Oh, that'd be
Let's
great.
do it. All right, Karen, come on.
Bring a treat.
All right, Karen, potty time. It's not awkward at all. We're all gonna watch you.
So we're gonna set her down without the leash so that she can actually spend some time sniffing around. She may or may not potty for us right now, and that's fine. But we're gonna give her some time to potentially potty.
Please.
I always wondered that.
Oh.
There it comes.
All right, so what do we wanna say?
Good girl.
Yes, here, pop that in her mouth right now. Yes, yes, success! Nice job. So the timing there was amazing, right? Because she had just finished, you said good, and popped that treat in her mouth. It has to be that quickly.
Karen, you're just killing it today.
It's like, I would love to have some more treats.
So another part of basic puppy training that we've talked about is socialization. So Alex, I called my husband Cooper to bring one of our fur babies over.
Cool.
Poppy is going to be joining us so that the two of them can meet, and this will be her first time really interacting with someone besides her
With
mom.
a new dog. Yep. With
How
a new
exciting,
dog.
Karen!
She could have a lot of different reactions, responses right now. She might be just very excited to meet the other dog. She may bark. She may be scared and run in the other direction. It doesn't matter. We're gonna go with what happens, and we're gonna work her through it, but we are gonna start out on leash. All right, so as a general rule, and this is gonna be different for every dog, but I see we have Poppy, and here she is. Yay! Let's start at a much wider distance. And I'm gonna kind of coach you both through this now. We don't want them to fixate on each other. So we'll call Karen back.
Come here, Karen. Karen, come here. Come here.
Good girl! And we're treating her. Do the same thing with Poppy. Just say her name and treat her.
Poppy, Poppy, good girl.
Good. So at this point, they're not fixating on each other. All right, go ahead and move a little closer. Good. Give lots of praise here.
Hey, good
And we're not
girl.
forcing anything. Good girl, Karen.
Good job.
That's a good girl.
Good. Lots of praise, you guys.
Good job, Poppy.
Good girl.
So I think about 3 to 5 seconds is great, and then we separate. So call Karen.
Come on, Karen. Come on, Karen.
Good girl.
Good girl.
And we treat Poppy. Because we're letting Karen know that she just did a really good job. So we can do it again if Poppy's interested. This is great. Karen's attitude right now is very playful and very sweet. But she doesn't have social skills yet. So for Poppy's sake, we need to kind of keep her at a distance so she doesn't overwhelm her. But Poppy's interested now. So we can let Karen go say hi.
Karen, let's say. You want to go say hi? You want to go say hi? Huh?
Go ahead and stand up. That'll help. Yes, good dogs. Okay, so at this point, I think it's safe to drop the leashes. We want to keep the leashes attached in case we need to grab them quickly. But at this point, we're seeing very nice body language. Good dogs, yes.
Good job, Poppy. Good.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and drop the leashes. So they're interacting really well, and I just want to applaud Karen right now because she's a puppy. Good dog. Kitty book. So while you're socializing your dog, some things may come up. You might notice some really extreme anxiety or fear or reactivity or anything like that. And if that's the case, call a behaviorist or a trainer to help you through it. Really important to get some professional help there so we don't overwhelm the dog. I work for a company called Tully's Training. We do positive reinforcement training. A lot of the stuff that you saw here today and much more advanced techniques as well. We can get you set up with whatever is the best training situation for you.
Claire, thank you so much for all of your help today. I've already learned so many new things too.
Yeah.
I know we were here to help Alex and Karen today, but I think me and
Thank
Poppy are
you.
going to go home and do some training as well.
Yes.
Everyone did a great job. Karen, you killed it today.
So good.
Poppy, you did so good too. Think it's safe to say that we came, we saw, we adulted. Should we put them down? You want to play again?
There you go.
What another great episode. I mean, pretty much best day ever, right? We got to hang out with Karen, who was the cutest pup ever. I mean, aside from my kids, of course. And I got to bring my kids to set. Well, one of my kids, Puppy. And it was a great time. We learned so many great things along the way. And as you know, I like to wrap things up by sharing some of my favorite tips that we learned along the way. Number 1, positive reinforcements. We're not speaking the same language as our pups, so this is a great way to communicate to them that they're doing something that we like. Number 2, socialize on a leash. I thought that this was a super helpful tip because if something were to go awry, you still have control of the situation. And of course, if the puppos, it seems like everything's going great, the dogs are getting along, take them off their leash and let them play. Number 3, patience. Patience with your pup. Of course, Karen was a superstar. My gosh, we were all in shock the whole time. Keep in mind that it's going to take time to work with your pup to get them to understand what you want them to do. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something new. I know that I did. And we'll see you guys next time on Adulted.
Genius!